Chapter 1. Limits, Alternatives, and Choices. Economics is about wants and means, the means of society. Its resource to make goods and services that satisfy our many desires are limited. However, our economic wants far exceed the productive capacity of our limited resources. Our resources are scarce, which means that society has limited resources and therefore cannot produce all of the goods and services that people want. Economics is the study of how people, institutions, and society make choices under conditions of scarcity. An economic perspective or economic way of thinking takes three major concepts into consideration: scarcity of resources and choices people make, purposeful behavior of economic agents, marginalism, that is, comparison of marginal benefits and marginal costs. We will now describe each of these concepts. Scarcity and choice. Scarce economic resources mean that the amounts of goods and services are limited. When a good is produced, the resources employed to produce it can no longer be used to make another good. Thus, we must decide what we will have and what we must forego. This choice leads to the definition of the following concept. Opportunity cost is the value of the good, service, or time foregone to obtain something else. Purposeful behavior. Economics assumes that individuals act rationally and in their own self-interest. We say that individual decisions are purposeful and seek to maximize utility. That is, the pleasure, happiness, or satisfaction obtained from consuming a good or service. If consumers are purposeful in deciding what goods and services to buy, business firms are purposeful in deciding what products to produce and how. Governmental entities are purposeful in deciding what services to provide and how to finance them. Marginalism. Marginal means extra or additional. Individuals make rational decisions such that the marginal benefit exceeds or equals the marginal cost. In a world of scarcity, the decision to obtain the marginal benefit associated with some specific option always includes the marginal cost of foregoing something else. Marginal analysis is the comparison of marginal benefits and marginal costs, usually for decision-making. Example of marginalism. Suppose you are shopping for a new car and you find a standard model that you like, but you are considering additional features: a sunroof, leather interior, heated seats, and alloy wheels. As long as the marginal benefit, greater satisfaction, exceeds the marginal cost, extra expenses of these additional features, you will choose to add the features. Economics relies on the scientific method, which consists of the following steps: observing real-world behavior and outcomes, formulating possible explanations of cause and effect, hypothesis, testing the hypothesis by comparing predicted and actual outcomes, accepting, rejecting, or modifying the hypothesis, continuing the process. Once hypotheses are accepted, they are combined to form theories, which then contribute to laws and principles used to construct economic models. Economic principles are statements about economic behavior or the economy that enable prediction of the probable effects of certain actions. They serve as tools for ascertaining cause and effect, or action and outcome, within the economic system. The following economic principles or tools are commonly used. Purposeful simplifications mean that economists simplify complex reality. Generalizations allow economists to make statements about typical or average consumers, workers, or business firms. The principle of ceteris paribus, other things equal, means that all variables, except those under consideration, are held constant. Graphical expression allows economists to represent many of their models graphically. Economic discipline can be split into microeconomics and macroeconomics. Microeconomics studies individual decision-making units, such as a consumer, a worker, or a business firm. Macroeconomics studies an economy as a whole, or its aggregates, collections of specific economic units treated as if they were one unit. Both individuals and society face an economic problem, the need to make choices because wants exceed means. Consider an individual's economic problem. The individual has a limited income from wages, interest, rent, profit, which forces her to choose what to buy and what to forego. The income can be represented by a budget line, various combinations of two products that a consumer can purchase with a specific money income given the product's prices. At the same time, the individual's wants are unlimited, and therefore she has to evaluate her marginal benefits and marginal costs to make choices that maximize her satisfaction. There are two types of wants: necessities, food, shelter, clothing, health care, and luxuries, jewelry, electronics, private art collections. This graph represents an example of a budget line. Suppose Mary has a $120 budget that she can allocate to DVDs and books. Suppose each DVD costs $20 and each book costs $10. Thus, given the income of $120, Mary can buy 6 DVDs and no books, 5 DVDs and 2 books, 4 DVDs and 4 books, and so on. She can also spend all of her money on books and buy 12 books and no DVDs. All possible combinations of DVDs and books that Mary can buy can be drawn as a straight line on the graph, a budget line. All combinations of books and DVDs located below the budget line are attainable to Mary. All combinations above the budget line are not. All combinations on the budget line will exhaust Mary's budget allocated to books and DVDs. Let us now consider the economic problem of the entire society. Society's economic resources, also called factors of production or inputs, are scarce. They include land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurial ability. There are many ways in which society can use its limited resources to produce goods and services for people. Resources can be used to produce private or government services. Society's economic problem can be represented in the production possibilities model. The production possibilities model makes the following assumptions. Full employment. The economy is employing all its available resources. This is an example of simplification. Fixed resources. The quantity and quality of production are fixed. This is a ceteris paribus assumption. Fixed technology. The methods used to produce output are fixed. This is another ceteris paribus assumption. Two goods. Another simplification. Consider an example of production possibilities that can be represented in a table. Suppose there are only 2 products: pizzas, which we measure in hundred thousands, and industrial robots, which we measure in thousands. Suppose the following combinations of pizzas and robots can be produced with society's resources. A. 10,000 robots and no pizzas. B. 9,000 robots and 100,000 pizzas. C. 7,000 robots and 200,000 pizzas. D. 4,000 robots and 300,000 pizzas. And E. No robots and 400,000 pizzas. We can now plot these points on a graph to obtain a production possibilities curve. All of the combinations of robots and pizzas that are below the production possibilities curve are attainable by the society, while all combinations of robots and pizzas that are above the production possibilities curve are unattainable and cannot be produced given the society's scarce resources.